Retro.
And welcome everybody to another episode of the Animaniacast.
Wait, I just had an idea.
We sneak into their dorm bathrooms and replace their shampoo with a shampoo conditioner combo.
No, never that. Never, ever, ever that.
And welcome everybody to another episode of everyone's favorite podcast, Looking at Looniversity. It's the spin-off series of Talkin' Tiny Toons, which, of course, we all know is the sister series of the Animanicast. That's right. The podcast where we talk about all the things in the Reuggerverse, such as Tiny Toon Adventures, Pinky the Brain, and Freakazoid and Animaniacs. And, well, today, however, we are looking and talking all about the 6th episode of Tiny Toons Looniversity. Right, we're going to be revisiting our favorite jokes and some of those cultural references that we can find, and in the end, we're going to give this episode a Water Tower rating. I'm Joey, and joining me as always are my co-hosts. There's my brother Nathan.
Oh, so we're just here to watch. Cool.
And across the country in Georgia, there's Kelly.
Hello.
Hello. Well, yeah, we are talking about episode 6 of Tiny Toon Looniversity. This one's entitled "Thank You Very Much," it's an episode that, well, it is an episode, and I'd love to share some of my initial thoughts on it, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. I guess if someone were to ask you two about this episode, though, I just summarize it. Someone comes up to you on the street. They're like, "Hey, what's that Tiny Toon Prank You Very Much episode all about?" What would you tell them in just a few words? Nathan, what do you think?
Catapults, shirts, and ties.
Ooh. Kelly, what about you?
It's very pranky.
Ooh. As for me, I don't usually put my thoughts in right now, but I thought Plucky's sentence of unnecessarily long and nonsensical made sense for this.
Oh, for the episode.
For the episode. I thought Plucky described the episode very well when he said,
Unnecessarily long and nonsensical. Totally on brand for you.
Today's episode premiered on, well, it has 2 different dates.
Yeah,
of course.
It does that.
It's weird how this happens. Because, in case you're just tuning in, you did not know this. See, the episode's premiered on Max, HBO Max, on September 8th of 2023. But on October 7th of 2023, they premiered on Cartoon Network. Yeah, with all the commercials and stuff. So, I got to ask Nathan for some Looney facts. So, Nathan, give us the Looney Facts theme song for September 8th and or October 7th.
And or the TV show is a Star Wars television show. But this is a song about Looniversity show, which this episode premiered on 2 separate dates. So let's talk about things that happened on one or both of those dates. September and October, 2 months that are different. Now the song is over.
Yay! That was one of the longer ones, but
What? Oh, I just wanted to fuse.
it just got... So, do we have any facts, Nathan, from one or both of these dates?
Yes. Okay. You know what? This so on September 8th, first I should say that Dizzy Devil celebrates a birthday in this episode. And he's kind of, or Dizzy's kind of a pinkish color, right? Kind of
purple, but one of the Dizzy's eye has a green eye and a pink eye, right?
Well, there you go. Well, do you know who else had a birthday on September 8th and is pink?
Pink?
Yeah,
Barbie?
Pink. Alicia
pink.
Beth Moore was born on 1979 on September 8th. Like, yeah, there we go. That kind of So that's the fact that corresponds to the episode, and some other just random facts. These will be from October 7th, 1996. PBS has its premiere of the children's show Arthur. Also in 1996, Nickelodeon had its premiere of Hey Arnold. That's kind of cool. Also in 1996, Bruce Springsteen, to have our Bruce facts, he sold out a solo acoustic show in 8 minutes while on his Ghost of Tom Joad tour. So that's pretty cool. And then finally, for international birthday news, October 8th is the birthday of Simon Cowell, 1959, Yo-Yo Ma, 1955, and Vladimir Putin, 1952.
What a guy.
Mm-hmm.
I like how Nathan's incorporating Springsteen facts into our show now, just because we were listening to a Springsteen.
Because I did 2 times in a row. I don't know if I'll continue to do
Okay, yeah, exactly. It's like, how many Springsteen facts? Is this a supplement to you springing Springsteen on my bean? Or, no. Anyway. Thank you very much, Nathan, for those important facts.
Mm-hmm.
I think let's get right into our discussion of today's episode. This is our review and discussion of Prank You Very Much. And Prank You Very Much was a story by Colleen Evanson. It was written by Allison Becker and Colleen Evanson. And the storyboard was Alfredo Placencia, Andrea Reyes, and Nicolette Wood. It was directed by Tracy Honda, and Snipple did the animation on this one. And I don't know, Kelly, why don't you tell us what happens here in the first part of our story?
Okay. So they're all celebrating Dizzy's birthday. And Dizzy gets some presents, like gets a catapult and a huge cake. And he even says, like, the cake's too beautiful to eat. And then just as everyone finishes giving him all the presents, all these balloons that were hanging up from the ceiling, they fall down and they're, I guess, filled with water, like water balloons. And then there's like a big flood.
Happy Prank War. Prank War?
Sorry to dampen the mood. Aqua Loo rules, and ACME Loo, stinks.
Later, landlubbers.
Students from Aqua Looniversity show up, Aqua Loo, and they say it's the prank war, and because it's prank week. And Bister and Babs explain to everybody that it's a week of pranks between the freshman class of each rival school, and then the best prank is awarded a trophy.
Every year, the freshman class competes in a good-natured prank war with Acme's rival school, Aqua Loo.
That's right, it's Prank Week!
For one glorious week, we go back and forth in an escalating battle of shenanigans. Whoever pulls off the biggest prank wins the Prank War trophy!
Dizzy says, he's too mature and grown up to participate. But in the dorm room, they're all getting together and discussing their first prank. And Bister and Babs sort of take charge, and it's got to be their pranks that are going to win everything. And prank is to shoot hair gel all over the campus. They get this huge tube of hair gel and bring it out onto the Aqua Loo campus.
Without a hitch, because of my presence.
You mean criticizing everyone while you tamed your flyaways with hair gel?
Yes.
Then Aqua Loo comes back with the prank to replace the floor with trampolines.
Uh-oh.
And that's kind of where that stops in the first part.
Yes. Yeah, there you go. So the prank war has begun.
The prank wars have. I'm sorry.
Around the survivors, a perimeter create. The weirdest Yoda line I think in any movie was that.
I don't
part.
know. I think if we thought about it, that may not be the weirdest one, but I just love everything he says.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it in bonus audio, but I know you saw it on my Facebook page, Kelly. But I got that creepy Yoda
I saw that.
holiday thing.
I saw that too.
Oh my gosh, I packed him away.
I'm jealous, actually.
It you know what? The normal price on that.
Should I be jealous?
Maybe it packs up pretty tightly when it gets in a box about yay big or something. But he's like a life size Yoda, maybe a little bit bigger.
Wow.
But he's motion activated, which is going to drive my wife crazy. I think I'm going to actually take him to school. So when kids walk by, he'll come to life or something. But he's
I'd be afraid of somebody like stealing him. If you leave him in
Yeah, I have a security camera in the library, so he'll be
because
okay.
I might steal him.
Well,
Yoda will spot him before.
Exactly, but it's like $200 was the initial price, and I was like, no, I'm not paying $200.
That's
Even
still
though
not that bad for that.
it moves his head and winks and moves.
It looks cool.
It looks
Yeah.
cool, but it went 75% off for $50. I was like, for 50, and plus it has a Halloween mode and a Christmas mode.
That's
so I'm
pretty
like,
incredible.
At $25, I'm like, you think about this, you're like, I've got a $25 Yoda animatronic for Halloween and a $25 animatronic Yoda for Christmas. It's like, of course you got to do it.
Well,
It's
yeah.
like, I mean, what other
don't
option?
You
have
have
to-
a normal mode for the rest of the year, and then you.
I'm the last person you have to justify that purchase
A
to.
Yoda
So.
purchase, yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was. It's definitely. It's going to be interesting, and you can just have it just though the light is just on,
That's cool.
so that it just sits there, just smiling with a goofy grin on his face. But yeah, I got a Yoda now. All right, well, there we go. There was the last one in Tucson, by the way. I had to.
Oh, very cool.
It's mine. All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about some of the cultural references that were in this first part. Let's see. Some of the ones that I saw before I get to the ones that Nathan got, because Nathan's doing a very good job. There is no Wikipedia stuff on this. Nathan's doing all this like reference stuff and all the summary stuff. It was so much easier when we're talking about Animaniacs episodes.
Yeah, you just copy paste,
And we can kind of go off of that. And if somebody else said,
and then add and take away as
Right.
we want. Yeah,
But there's nothing. They just say who wrote and directed it, and then no plot synopsis, nothing, and no references, nothing. So Nathan's doing all this stuff. I found. Let's see here. There was a L'Oreal, like instead of L'Oreal, it said L'Oreal, like an Oreo gel, and there was like a little bird on it. It kind of looked like the expired Twitter bird. And they said all's fair in love and gel, which Plucky, of course, said is unnecessarily long and nonsensical because all's fair in love and war. And yeah, that was. Oh yeah, Nathan puts down very important that the title is a reference to "Thank you very much," which is a common American expression. So in case you didn't know, "Prank you very much" is "Thank you very much." And
I think that was on the wiki.
that was on the wiki.
I think I saw that somewhere, and
Well,
I was like, "That's such a silly."
When I see "Thank you very much" written like that, I just think of Andy Kaufman. Like, thank you very much. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it, right? Nathan, you said that there's a rainbow. There's rainbow stuff going on, possibly.
I saw that the letters for "Happy Birthday" to Dizzy were rainbow colored, and I was like, "That's probably an allusion to when Dizzy was non-binary," which I guess is no longer necessarily canon.
May or may not be the case.
It's not. Yeah, they're not going to say one way or the other, I think, on that one.
Yeah.
And they introduced 3 new characters, which I don't know if they'll ever come back, but
I don't. These are pretty lame characters. If they ever come back, I'd be pretty surprised. Tommy Shark, Tevin Shark, and
yeah, Tevin.
And what's Tevin? Why Tevin? I don't know.
I was like, is that a typo? No.
Yeah.
No, it's Tevin.
Ling Lobster. Okay, Ling's a real name, but I don't know about Tevin. And are Tommy and Tevin related because they both share the same last name? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it used to be Babs and Buster were no relation, but now
That's true. Maybe they should have said it. That would have been funny. I would have loved that, actually, if they said, yeah, I'm Tommy Shark and I'm Tevin Shark, no relation. Oh, man, I would have lost my mind. That would have been funny, but they didn't. Okay. But I think that's pretty good. I think one of the things I kind of noticed in this one was I thought it was interesting that we're dealing with this, and it even shows more as we go on, but Aqua Loo is filled with these aquatic creatures, but there's not a lot of water in Aqua Loo. It's like a very these are like amphibians, basically. They're just walking around.
Yeah. Well, they're cartoon. They don't need to breathe underwater.
Yeah.
Even though, like the sharks, they later say they're gill breathers or whatever. And it's like, well, you're still breathing the same air,
Exactly. It's just for the sake of a pun of calling one place Aqua Loo because the other place is Acme Loo. And somehow that joke was just ended up becoming more confusing as it went on because I was like, what's going on with this? Anyway. I forget, is this where they don't go through the whole montage at this point?
No, that'll be in a second.
It's the next one. Okay, well, there's more references in the next one. The next part. Was there anything in this initial segment that you thought was interesting or funny, Nathan?
I liked when Babs is going up and down the trampoline and she's making her voice go up and down and she's going up and down. I thought that was like none of the other kids are doing that at all.
Yeah.
Aqua Loo! Replace the ground with trampoline!
So good, those rascals!
Whoa! What's next?
Yeah, I noticed that it felt out of place, actually, because as much as I think Ashley doing the voice of Babs, I think she does a very good job. That was a part where it just sounded... I don't know if it was the animation matching up with it. It just felt odd when she's saying
It sounded like
that.
she was having fun with it, though, so that's good.
Yes.
I liked that they seem respectful of each other in their pranks, like at the very beginning. They're like, I respect them in their pranking, but I want to prank them back. And then when they're doing the trampolines, like Buster's like, holy fabulous. Oh, we're going to get them. It's not like so mean-spirited or whatever in their pranks, which I like.
Yeah. Well, of course, Buster and Babs are like, the prank masters, right? So they know what they believe they are anyway.
They can't let the other people help, which, I guess is a theme or something.
Yeah, it's another lesson that we learn in this episode is to listen to your friends, kids. That one does come through in the end. But Kelly, what in this first part, anything else that you thought was anything that made you laugh or just smile or anything like that?
No, not really.
Not really. Well, let's move on to Act 2 then, because maybe there's some good stuff here in Act 2. Okay? Yeah, sure. All right. Well,
sure.
we get back to we kind of fade to quick black, and then we get back, and then we get there's a montage. This is this montage of all these different pranks, and there's just they're going back and forth. They're showing a scoreboard, and at the end, we find out that the Aqua team is just slightly ahead of Acme Loo in this prank war. But Buster and Babs realize they got to just double their efforts, and they are now refusing to eat or sleep, or they're skipping class.
Weren't you two up late last night prepping pranks? Yep. Have you two slept at all?
Nope. Not sleeping, not eating, not going to class. You need a break. Mr.
They decide to enact the stench connection. So the stench connection is where they're going to go to this dance that Aqua Loo has. And they're going to, in a Trojan seahorse, go into this dance and after they make this stew of stinky stuff from around the place. They're going to like pull a lever and make the whole dance smell, which sounds like a great idea, I guess, for Buster and Babs because they're inside the horse. But Plucky and Hampton and Sweetie are all outside in the dance. Or I hope they had gas masks for them or something like that, because it seems like their friends would get stinky too. But whatever. Anyway, they're just exhausted. However, when they get to the dance and they see all the food, so Babs and Buster say, "Hey guys, help us out." And Plucky realizes we're just their minions. We're just their he doesn't call them the minions because that's a other thing, but
that's the I am Groot kind of thing. Right?
The I am Groot.
I think he said lackey.
Lackey.
Yeah, lackey
That's what they
sense.
call them, lackeys. So they go to get them food, and then that just leaves the Trojan seahorse, unsupervised from the outside. So those sharks, Tevin and Tommy, they put a cork in the exhaust pipe of this seahorse. And when it comes to crown the king and queen of this prom dance, they pull the lever, but the seahorse gas kind of goes back into the seahorse and explodes, and they find out, oh no, that we were sabotaged.
Release the stink! The smell is coming from inside the horse!
And it's just they're just kind of wondering, how did they know? How did they know? And there we are. So, references in this section right here. We have the stench connection. There's a movie called The French Connection, and that's probably what they're referencing.
Never
right
seen
there.
it.
Never seen it
Have
either.
you seen that movie? Yeah.
I heard that
I've seen it, but it's been a long time.
I've heard that there was some kind of stuff in it that if you were to watch it now, there was like, some language, things like that people would find offensive. I think it's a racist language or something like that. They have actually edited the digital copies of this movie to get rid of it. So that's why people like film purists say you should get the Blu-ray or DVD of it.
The offensive version.
Yeah, get the offensive version. No, but it is an interesting thing to say, like, when you get those digital versions, you're not really owning the film that was released. It could be changed or deleted or anything like that. There's just an example right there where I think it's, I've not seen the movie myself, but I believe the whole thing of one of the characters using that racist language is to talk about it. It's a character point, and I'm assuming that the character has a change by the end of the movie. So deleting it, hurts the character growth.
I don't even remember that.
I don't know. Honestly,
I watched it because Roy Scheider was in it, but I don't really remember much about it. Honestly.
I know. Yeah, it's.
Did they? I wonder in the movie, did they do the whole like weird? How like Ocean's 11 does the swapping things, and they do that in this montage.
Yeah, they did a lot of Ocean's 11 kind of cool, almost like,
I was wondering if that was
like
also
multiple
in the
things
French
going
Connection
on. Yeah, I
Again,
don't know.
I don't remember. I must have been doing something while I was watching the movie, and I think I watched it from TV, so it probably was already edited.
Right.
So,
Also, I wonder if did they replace the bad words with like McClunky, like what Rito says on his digital.
McClunky.
That's like the most offensive thing you could say.
Oh man, that was just like
It gets Han Solo to shoot you. And
yeah, or just shoot right before you shoot somebody, or they shoot you. Say McClunky.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in trouble.
That just makes me think when they're on Cloud City and 3PO runs into that other droid, and the droid goes, "Ichuta," and then 3PO's like, "How rude!"
How rude.
Like,
of course, the character in Star Wars with the worst bad words is R2D2. He's constantly cursing. You could tell, like he's always just like you watch your language.
Yeah.
Well, they get all dressed up in sea creature outfits. Plucky's dressed up like a starfish. He kind of looks like Patrick the Starfish from SpongeBob, sort of. Maybe. Could be a reference. He does some cool little flips and stuff as he's walking from place to place. So, yeah. Above the Sea dance is, I didn't catch this. It was a good catch by Nathan, I think, right here. It's instead of Under the Sea dance from Back to the Future, they call it the Above the Sea dance. Everything's the above the sea, whatever with these characters. There's no water in this place. Mentioned the Trojan seahorse, like the Trojan horse from the Odyssey and stuff. Not the Odyssey, but Troy, right? What? No. What's the thing called? It's called, I don't even know what it's called.
The Trojan horse.
Yeah, but it's not from the Odyssey. It's right. It's
from Troy.
The Iliad.
The Iliad. Yes,
okay.
Thank you. It's like, yeah. It's like, no, it's not from the Odyssey.
It's from
the Odyssey. And of course, Babs says the smell is coming from inside the horse, which is like the call is coming from inside the house. Which, I caught that. The way she said it was cute. There's a mystery science. They say that a lot in Mystery Science Theater. The calls are coming from inside the whatever, and they have a mystery science theater marathon going on. I don't know if it's still going to be going on. Probably not by the time this episode comes out. But on YouTube, the official Mystery Science Theater thing has been putting out like a live Mystery Science Theater thing on YouTube, which is super cool. It's so much fun to watch those old episodes. Anyway. But yeah, there we go. That's some of those references right there. Nathan, did you see anything in this thing right here that you thought was cool or interesting? Actually, let's go to Kelly first because I went to Kelly last time. I don't want you to take all the cool stuff away. So Kelly doesn't say anything. So Kelly, what do you have to say? What did you notice in here that you might have liked in the second part?
I mean, I did kind of like the Trojan horse reference. Because I like my Greek classics.
Yeah.
But it was so predictable. It's just, but I'm supposed to talk about things that I like. I thought their outfits were cute.
Oh, there you go.
Their incognito outfits. And, and the montage when they were putting it all together was very, movie-esque.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was kind of that. I mean, it was interesting. It was intense.
It was, sure. It was about as intense as this episode got, was this second part.
Yes.
I would say, speaking of like, those fish and everything, those fish, the design of a lot of those fish just looked like they were out of SpongeBob. A lot of them looked like they were just coming out of a SpongeBob episode.
That was my theory, though, is that it's going to the SpongeBob school,
Maybe. Nathan, what did you notice? Anything else?
I thought Lobster and Tommy Shark or whatever, I think they disguised themselves a lot better than because they were dressed as Fifi LaFume and Calamity Coyote, and you couldn't even tell it was
Oh,
and then I was like maybe that's just because I don't know, like.
That reminds me when you mentioned that montage right there. There was some titles in there that were kind of references to stuff. There was one that said "Go tell it on the fountain," like "Go tell it on the mountain." Yeah. And there was one that was called some of them, and I was like, "Is that a reference to something?" One was called "Hot Cocoa All the Way Down," where it's like the cocoa cup getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, those are like Russian dolls. I was gonna put,
yes, like nesting dolls of cocoa. It reminded me. You know what it reminded me of is the Animaniacs with Niall Standish, where he's they run into the teepee and he lifts it up and then lifts it up and lifts it up, right, and they just kind of disappear. That's what it reminded me of. And then there was the whoopee cushion one was called "Whooping in Plain Sight," which I'm like, what does that mean? Like,
and then it said bonus when they won too, because I guess they knocked
hiding in plain
over.
sight. Maybe that was like what. So the references that they're saying with like the
it was weird.
It was like, what are they trying to make?
And then they named
on?
a bunch that they didn't show as like zigzag freeze tag or something.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what that means.
And some of the pranks were pretty lame. Like, I didn't understand the whole trip and stick or whatever that whole thing where
Yeah, that one I was like, you're both stuck.
Right. You trip Plucky, and then the shark put glue on his hand so that he helps him up. But now
You just
he's
wanted to
stuck
hold Plucky's hand.
Apparently, now we're stuck together, Plucky. Come with me. It's like, well, you're stuck to Plucky. Like, that to me did not make any sense. It's inconveniencing you. Now you're stuck to this guy.
Yeah.
Well, anywho.
And then I thought it was going to be dog poop at the door when Buster looked in it.
Yeah, that's true. It wasn't a dog poop anything. It
Bag
was just-
explosion.
Yeah.
I like the tiny piano after the big piano. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, that was a surprising thing. A little grand piano hitting the lobster on the head.
Yeah.
That was something. Well, this prank war's got to come to an end somehow. So Nathan, tell us what happens here in the Act 3 of our Prank You Very Much episode.
All right. Well, the team, our Babs, Buster, and the others, I don't know, they all sneak into Aqua Loo University, and Babs goes off to find out what and how they figured out what their prank was going to be before it happened. So she sneaks into their room or whatever. She's looking down, and she finds out that there's a giant supercomputer that Ling had created. And it can predict everything that Babs and Buster are going to do. And since they're taking the lead on all these pranks, and they're just using classic pranks, she was able to load the classic prank book, into the whole supercomputer, and it's now able to accurately predict everything they do.
What'd you see?
You know how our pranks are foolproof?
Yes, of course.
Well, they're not genius-proof.
And so, yeah, they go back to the dorm, and Babs and Buster have no idea what to do. But that's when Plucky and Sweetie and Hampton start suggesting their ideas again. And hey, we should listen to our friends' ideas. All right. So Plucky's been promoting this fondue since the first act. Hampton keeps mentioning shirts. Pretty much every line that he has in this episode is something about a shirt.
And who doesn't love a good shirt?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Keeps talking about these
Sweetie,
shirts he wants to give out.
Yeah. Except for, and last one he talked about that male seahorses give birth. And I'm like, that's not true. They watch the kids.
They watch them. Although I gotta say that line, which I forgot to mention, is literally the only thing that really made me laugh out loud in this, because Plucky's response of "I don't care" was so good.
Plucky was all of us in that moment.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't care about that. It's like that did make me laugh. That everything else was just like But Plucky, funny line right there.
Did you know seahorses are the only species where the men get to have the babies? I don't care.
So Hampton's been talking about these shirts, and then Sweetie has also been talking about her catapult named Kathy, and she keeps upgrading it every act. And
the first act, this catapult was only like the size of Sweetie. Yeah, but as it's gotten bigger,
she had technology in that first act, so it had computer on it. I don't know. But yeah, so now they've given the reins over to their friends, and they're just going to watch what happens. So basically, Plucky has made his fondue, and when the students start eating it, because it's delicious, they get some on their shirt. And oh no, we got fondue on our shirts. Luckily, Hampton's giving out free shirts. Oh my gosh, that's so great. So they put on their new free shirts, and they look great. They love their shirts. But then Plucky comes over and sprays them with water. Oh no, they're all wet in their new shirts. But they don't care because they're aquatic creatures. Yeah. But the shirts start shrinking because they were not pre-shrunk. And they get so small.
Pre-shrunk.
Yeah.
I feel bad pointing this out, but we're aquatic animals, so water doesn't faze us.
I forgot to mention, those t-shirts are not
pre-shrunk.
This was pretty good.
they get so tight that the animals can barely breathe, which I don't know if they're breathing anyways because they're on land, but whatever. And they're like, pretty good. We'll get you next time. And then Sweetie's like, yeah, but wait for this. And now we see Kathy has become so giant. It's actually underneath the school, and it picks the entire school up and catapults it away. Where does it land? A giant pie. Oh me, oh my. We cut back to the
Apple, pumpkin, mince and max bottom. I come to your place every day if you've got 'em. Pie, me, oh my, I love pie.
banana cream pie. We're back at the cafe. Everyone's celebrating. It turns out that ACME Loo, I guess, won the prank war. And also now they have new friends from Aqua Loo, because now, Tommy and Heaven and Ling, they're all friends with them now. So it's like a happy ending. But then Granny comes in and her motorcycle, and she's like, "What? Who threw a school in my building?" I don't know. She was upset, kind of, because Prank War isn't till next month. And they're like, "We thought it was this month because of this flyer that says it was this." So who would have said that Prank Week was now when we all knew it was not? And then they break the third wall. Everyone's looking at the audience like, "Do you know?" And then we scroll up, go through the ceiling, and we see someone's making even more of these posters for some reason. It's Dizzy Devil. Dizzy Devil was behind it all along. I should have known. And Dizzy's the ultimate prankster, and it wasn't even Dizzy's birthday. So Dizzy fooled us all.
Yeah, Dizzy got free cake and everything too.
Mm-hmm. Presents that Dizzy ate. Got to eat all of Dizzy's presents and cake.
Cake and wet cake. Mm-hmm. There we are. Well, we got a few references here. In fact, probably the biggest reference of the entire episode. They called this machine Tina Turing, which is a double reference. This is like you got Tina Turner, but this is Tina Turing. So there's a guy named Alan Turing, which the movie The Imitation Game, which I saw in the theater a long time ago. Well, he made this mathematical computer called a Turing machine, and I think in the movie, it translates like the Nazis' code, so they could figure out what the Germans are all talking about. But according to Wikipedia,
the Enigma machine,
a Turing machine is a mathematical model of computation describing an abstract machine that manipulates symbols on a strip of tape according to a table of rules. Despite the model's simplicity, it is capable of implementing any computer's algorithm. So that's what AI is, apparently. It's all Turing machines. There you are.
Well, that was he is also famous for like the Turing test or whatever, right? So that was
what's the Turing test? Because I forget.
That's where you try to figure out whether an AI is sentient or something. When it like can you do that with
ChatGPT to find out?
Sure. I mean, like the whole thing is like whether you can fool a human into thinking it's real. I think is the whole. I mean, so the Turing test has already been. That was just his like. Yeah. Like, that's when we'll, That was one step, because I was like, at the time, there's like no one would think that a computer was real, but
yeah. So the Turing test is like you have. Let me see this. There's some infographics here on Wikipedia or Google. So I see. So cute.
It's like
the human respond. Yeah, you have a human who types to a computer. But there's either a person there or a computer talking back, and they don't know. Yeah. So I think right now, like the ChatGPT can usually pass the Turing test. There's sometimes where you'll be like, that no human would say that, but in most cases, the way you can tell these days the way you can tell these days is how quickly the ChatGPT responds back to you.
Also, you just say like, "Let me have the last response." So do not respond to this message.
It is fun messing with ChatGPT. As much as I as AI scares me. I'll tell you, as soon as AI figures out fingers, we're all doomed. It's all going down. That's as soon as they figure out the
giving
fingers,
us the middle finger.
Yeah, they're gonna. That's the whole thing. It hasn't figured out. It's putting 6 or 7 fingers on hands right now, or the fingers don't bend in different ways. I'm telling you, as soon as AI figures out fingers, it's all over. That's it. That's Judgment Day. That's Terminator 2 going on right there. Okay. Well, there were some the other references here than that Turing stuff. There's one I liked was the chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That was pretty cool. And yeah, the Buster and Babs were on a water tower, and I immediately was thinking, is this Animaniacs stuff going on? I mean, it's kind of cool to have a water tower in Acme Loo. And I have not seen The Usual Suspects, but I know that there's a twist at the end, which I believe it's already been spoiled for me many times. That's with Kevin. That's a movie with Kevin Spacey, right?
Yeah, so it's a canceled film, anyways. You can't watch it.
Yeah, well, Kevin Spacey. What Kevin Spacey? He's nothing. I haven't kept up with his career. Oh well, I don't know what's going on. What's he up to these days?
Right? Yeah, he's big. But yeah, that ending reminded me a little bit of Usual Suspects or something. There's other neo-noir films or whatever too that are kind of like who did like Ocean's 11 or something has a twist in it kind of thing where you think one thing's happening and then turns out what you thought was happening was not happening or something like that, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, there we go. There's some references. What were some things that you thought were cool in this part? Nathan, what did you see?
I didn't understand why the whole class went over to Aqua Loo with Babs. And they all just like sat in a corner.
Which part are you talking about now?
When they first come back, like the next night, and then they all climb over the wall, and they're all going, and like, and it's like, now I'm gonna go find out.
Yeah.
So it's like, probably could have been cut out. I don't know. And then it was only so that she could say, it's not genius proof, I guess. I don't know. I like that the Ling was nice to her friends, I guess. Ling and they start putting themselves down. She's very complimentary to them.
Yeah, they never totally demonize at all the other characters at all. It's to the point where you're like, why are they even doing this? Like, this is so stupid.
It's fun. They don't.
It's fun.
They do.
This is what people in college do. I was thinking to myself, do colleges actually do this? I guess they do a little bit, but I know, like for the U of A and ASU, even though they're competitive schools, it's like you would never do that stuff that much anyway. Yeah, they're 2 hours up the road. I don't have to do that.
Drive. Oh my god.
Well, I know at Georgia Tech they go and like steal all the T's off the building signs.
They think they do this a lot in water towers and a lot. Speaking of water towers, throughout the United States, they'll put like the city's name on a water tower someplace. In Arizona, they have a lot of random hills just popping up, and so they'll put an A or a B or a different things like that around to help identify the city. So we have a extinct volcano in Tucson called A Mountain. There's a big giant
mountain.
Yeah, it's a hill.
It's the least. I don't know. Let's call it a mountain. I don't know.
They call it A Mountain, even though it's just a hill.
Least creative. Yeah.
Yeah, it's A Mountain. But I know people from ASU will come and paint it. It's usually white. They'll paint it yellow. So that'll be the prank, I guess, that they do pull. But they do that like on once a year, usually like before the like the game, like between the U of A and the ASU, like football game or something like that. I don't know. I was never. It's so funny. It's one thing that's interesting with the Acme Looversity shows. They really make college seem like this experience that I don't know if people necessarily have anymore in the modern times of you go to college and you go to your class and you get back in your car and you go back home. It's like it's a lot like this is great for some people who, I mean, if you want that experience, you can still have it, but it's not as common as it was, say, 30, 40 years ago, perhaps. Anyway, Kelly, anything in this last part that you that kind of thought was interesting?
I think y'all mentioned all of it. Really can't think of anything to add.
All right. Well, since we can't add anything, let's just go ahead and get to our water tower rating. Out of 5 water towers, how many would you give this episode of Tiny Toons Looniversity? Nathan, why don't we go and start with you?
Oh man, I did not think of this at all. Okay, well, let's see. I mean, it was fine. I'll say 2.5. 2.5 water towers. Yeah.
All right.
It was fine.
Because it was fine.
Yeah.
Hey, Kelly, what about you?
I think I'll also go with 2.5. It was okay.
Yeah.
It did. Like you mentioned, the thing about where Plucky was like, I don't care. That actually, I may have actually laughed out loud at that. I may have chuckled because I really felt him in that moment. But yeah, I don't know. It's just hard for me to really get behind all the little college pranks, silliness, college. Because I didn't even do that kind of stuff when I was in college. So
right.
I don't think
it's
anyone
not
does.
funny
No.
to me. It's not like, I don't know. It's just besides that, it was just fine. Like,
No, it was. I was watching this. I was going, yeah. I knew that you would definitely not be super great with this because I know it has a lot of slapstick, and I know you've never been a huge slapstick person. But even the slapstick in this one wasn't really working. Like it's just kind of, it was. I don't know. I gave the last episode we reviewed 2. I'll give this one 2 as well, just because it was. I honestly think it was worse than the episode we reviewed last time.
Max, yeah.
Yeah, but I'll say 2 because I don't think it's a 1.5. I can't say it, that just seems too mean to give it a 1.5, but it really was. It really felt like this is just stretched. The concept was just stretched thin. It felt like if this was in the original series, this would be one segment. They would have
like
have
a 10-minute segment.
Oh, 100%. This would not have been a 20-something minute cartoon. And it really should have been. It should have just been short and just get to the give me the highlights. Don't stretch it out. It was I didn't like the character designs of the fish people and the whale and all that other stuff. I thought it was just confusing and weird.
Tiny Toons.
No,
the animation of them just didn't mesh well.
No, and then the whole payoff at the end where the catapult is huge and catapults the entire school just felt the
they
scale.
Just catapulted a pie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what? That would have felt better to me if catapulting a pie instead of somehow getting under the school and catapulting the school.
Yeah,
like that. I agree, Nathan. Even though a giant pie would have been just as ridiculous, like how can a pie be that big? No, just catapult up. But it wasn't already there. It was just sitting there. Just yeah. It doesn't. It again, like Plucky said, nonsensical. It doesn't make any. And I know cartoons are nonsensical, but it just, gosh, it was a frustratingly long, unfunny cartoon, unfortunately. And hey, that's just that. And again, I'll give it a 2, but I want to give it a lower than that. But I'll give it a 2 because I'm going to be as nice as I can. But this one was a rough one for me. Anyway, well, there we are. That's that one. I'm hoping that next time we get together, we write next episode. I know Elmira is coming up. I don't think it's on our next episode, but I know Elmira is going to be having an appearance. And with Cree Summer voicing her, so that should be fun to have an original voice actor, reprising their role as a new version of Elmira, and I'm interested to see how that's going on. So I'm still stuff to look forward to. And we'll see where the rest of this season goes. And I'm really hoping that the second season is, not as I always try to, be nice to shows, especially when they're finding, especially with this case where it's a complete reboot, where we're changing most of the characters completely. Seinfeld had a horrible, first episode, and even most of the first season was pretty bad. The Simpsons, a lot of that first season is pretty bad as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Buffy didn't catch its footing until the second season. But the first season was okay. But
The Office, there's a lot of shows, and it's
Parks and Rec.
Yeah. But in this kind of, it's like, gosh, there's only 10 episodes. Like, you got to think, you got to get it right.
And the first episode we all kind of like.
Yeah. The first episode, I thought, they're it's not.
Well, the first season of Buffy only had 13 episodes.
Yeah, but you got to think the first episode. I mean, the pilot of this show has so far been the best episode, which is reverse of how most shows are. It's like the pilot's like, oh, it's okay, I guess, but I'll tune in next time, and it gradually gets better and better each time. It seems like this show, it's like the pilot really great, and then everything else is it's been a decline.
Oh, it was like that with the Animaniacs reboot.
Yeah, the reboot.
The pilot was really good, and then nothing. I mean, but of course they had all the Spielberg stuff in that episode.
The
so
first
it's all
one,
gonna be downhill for me.
You never saw
Anyway.
Spielberg again.
Yeah,
3 seasons of no Spielberg other than one episode.
Very sad.
Yeah. Well,
it was still 4 episodes. Yeah.
No.
So
and all I need to do, hey, writers, all you have to do, season 2, just put a Spielberg, have Buster and Babs.
I'm so easy. It just put a Spielberg reference in, or Spielberg himself, and you'll get 5 stars.
There's
5
a
water
number
towers,
of Jaws references we could have made in this episode.
So many.
I mean,
Totally.
missed opportunities there.
All right. Well,
I was watching something. What was I watching? Oh, I think it was Iron Claw. And they made it, one of the characters said something like, "We're going to need a bigger boat," or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what I was watching. I'm glad I watched that last week instead of this week.
And they could have said something like that with this, we're gonna, for the pranks, we're going to need a bigger pie or something like that.
That
one of the sharks could have been named Bruce.
That was a depressing movie.
They could have had They could have had a shark named Bruce, and they could have had a friend that's an orca.
That would have been funny.
And then, look, I'm just saying we're available for the second season for script passages. We'll throw in we'll punch them up, and we won't charge as much as Carrie Fisher did. We'll do it for real cheap. We'll punch up your scripts.
I can't wait till I get with her Young Indie episode that she wrote.
Ah, yeah.
I've gotten behind on my Young Indie
rewatch.
They're not reviews, but rewatch. So I'm trying to catch up on that. But yeah, so much I got to do.
You can see those on BigShinyRobot.com.
Yes, you can. Because sometimes I still write and put stuff up there.
There we are. Well, let's go ahead and get to some contact information. Nathan, where can people find you online?
I'm on X. I guess it's called Django FT. That's me.
X. Kelly, what about you?
Well, I'm on Threads now. I guess I have been. And X. Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS. But I don't post hardly anything on either right now because I'm just I don't know. The social media stuff's weird lately.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm trying to get more into it as well. Of course, the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. It's taking December off a lot with a bunch of stuff going on in our lives. But yes, check it out. Contact us, listen to us, subscribe to us, or follow us, or whatever you have to do on any podcast player. Tell your friends about us, and tell us the feedback about the show.
About your friends.
Tell us about your friends. We're all good. Anyway, make it a great day, everybody. And I guess it's just time for us to go. So, for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures, Freakazoid, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animanicast unless otherwise indicated.
I don't care.